That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 45. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz. Alex, good evening. Let's talk a little Nets. Let's talk a little Knicks. But before we do that, want to make sure everybody, if you're listening on Apple, go ahead and give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. It's greatly appreciated. And of course, at the end of each and every episode, Alex reads off the poll question. He's at Nick Central. I'm at Mike Delivers Pod. Follow us on Twitter. And if you respond on Alex's Twitter poll, we will answer. We'll read some of those questions, read some of those responses at the end of each episode. So I want to get that out of the way. Now, Alex, how the hell are
Yes.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. Not as good as you after that Nets win over the Hawks in overtime. I was like, I was waiting for you to text me because I assumed the game was over, and I was just like, where is Mike to start this pod? And then I turned on the TV. I was like, wow, it's in overtime. I was like, holy crap. And I
Yeah,
saw your boy TLC's big offensive rebound to win the game. That was pretty impressive.
yeah. It's
That was
funny. It's funny. The little things help win them that game
mhm.
because everybody will talk about Harden and Durant, Kyrie, but the Nets bench in the first half was pathetic. I think it had 2 points. And then in the
Wow.
second half, it woke up. Bruce Brown had a big game. Jeff Green was great
hmm
off the bench. And it was those guys that really helped the second unit with James Harden early
hmm
in the fourth quarter that put them in a position where they could get the victory and then, got the W in overtime. But it,
Well,
it was funny. It was funny too
yeah,
because Harden had that step back three at the end of regulation to
hmm
win and
I didn't
missed
see it,
it.
but okay.
All I thought to myself was, boy, this is sports talk radio tomorrow. James Harden takes the shot when there's Durant and Kyrie. Does Steve Nash have control of the team? Like
He
I was
doesn't.
just
No.
all of the stuff I was no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
we know that
Unless he
already,
was.
but I just could
Yeah,
already
yeah.
imagine the headlines with that.
No, of course, of course. And Durant missed that three or something that if TLC doesn't get that rebound and the Hawks end up
Mm-hmm.
tying it or winning it. You know what I mean? Be like, oh, Durant missed the big three. You know what I mean? But I just want to give you a little moment of silence for you for Joe Harris, like his streak ending, 3 points.
Yeah. I know it had to come to an end eventually. I think it was 79 straight games with a three, but he had a huge steal in overtime and played decent defense on
hmm
Trey Young, who is quietly becoming one of the most annoying players in basketball. The way he plays is just infuriating.
Yeah.
But Atlanta's got a nice young squad. But yeah, Joe Harris's 3-point streak comes to an end.
How
But
did
the Nets,
Gallinari play, by the way? I saw he's healthy. I know he's been back a
he
couple games, but is
he
he does he
looked
look good or is he like
he looked a little like kind of heavy and slow ish, but he doesn't miss. I swear there's some players you watch and he doesn't miss. He looks solid. I was surprised that Coach Pierce didn't have him in at the end of this game, maybe a little bit
mhm.
more, but he looked very good off the bench. He played well. They were missing what's his face? Bogdanovich. He didn't play in the
Oh,
game, and that was missed. But Atlanta's a young team, deep team,
got
good
vets
core.
too. Yeah.
I could see the Nets playing the Hawks in the first round of the playoffs this year. Like that's definitely a possibility that I could see
That's a scary
happening.
matchup, man. You don't want that. That's a
No, I
scary
don't.
matchup.
No, the
Yeah,
team
because anybody can get hot in that team. I think a couple
totally.
guys can get hot. Yeah.
And they
So,
well, we saw from the Nets when they put the big three together for the first time, and then
mhm.
they lost both games to the Cavs, and of course Jaron Allen tortured
Of
them, and it was
course.
painful to watch.
And he dunked it on someone. Who did he dunk it on?
Joe,
Oh, he did. Oh,
and they're best friends,
damn. Yeah.
like
That's probably why he was smiling. Some, I mean,
oh
besides
yeah.
dunking it on someone, but like it was you could see it was more than just like, oh, I got you. It was like a,
Yeah, like I mean, it
like
would be like if I dunked on you. I mean, the emotion that I would show as you're
yeah,
staring down there, looking up at me with my mad hops. I can only imagine how good that feel. One day I'll
yeah.
dunk on you. One day, post pandemic, when we're playing, you
Play
can
one
dunk
on
on a
one.
10-foot hoop, right?
Yeah. No, I can't. Are you
Joking.
crazy?
I'm just
It'd
busting your
be
balls.
it would be funny though if we played a one-on-one game though, and
Yes.
don't broadcast it live, but we'll see how we do first, and we'll watch it. And then we'll see,
Don't
like,
live stream it.
yeah, I used to play basketball like every day, but now like it's been a while, and
Yeah.
like it's been the pandemic. I mean, I shot around over the summer
Mm-hmm.
on my fiance's parents' house. We stayed there for a couple of months. They have a hoop in the driveway, but like it's not the same as
Yeah.
like playing a game. You know what I mean? But it was nice to just put some headphones in and shoot some hoops by myself for a little bit. That was like I haven't done that in forever.
When I was
So
doing the morning show and my hours were conducive towards it,
mhm.
this is pre-pandemic. One of my best friends lives actually in the same town as me. I never see him because he has two kids, and it's just like impossible.
Yeah.
But we would do a rec league basketball on Thursday nights. And my
Mhm.
friend's pretty good. He's like 6'4", 6'5".
Mhm.
Used to be good when he was younger and was in better shape. And we played in a league. It was Alex. It was the most fun I've had in a decade.
When no one's taking it seriously and everybody's having a good
so
time.
So much fun.
Yeah. Organized with referees, right? And it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, organized with
Puffing
referees.
and puffing at the end.
Serious, but not really serious.
Yeah.
Some guys that take it too serious, that they're on the court.
Of course.
But it was just, we were the last team to make the playoffs, and it was a best of 3 series. In the first game, we upset the 1 seed, and then we lost the next 2. But like that feeling, it was.
So you're like Allen Iverson stepping over Tyrone Lue, right? You were like that moment. Beating the Lakers.
I had 3 3-pointers to start the game.
Oh, look at
no
you.
Joke. Yeah. And then it was like I'm not that good.
You were like Danny Green, bro, in the finals. You were just like cashing 3.
Everything went right. It was just, but your point, it was just I missed that. It was so much fun. I'd love to do that.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. That sounds like a lot of fun. Like
it was so much fun.
I was in a rec league a couple years ago, but it was just the games were like at odd times. Sometimes they're like 10:30 at night. I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I quit. I was like, keep my $20, like it's just stupid. Whatever. But
we had games at 10:30 also, and I had to get up then at 3 a.m. And I was like, I would get home. It was like midnight. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna? I was like, I might as well just stay up and just get there till 3 the next day, so I can tell Taz and Moose how to do a radio show. I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, Crazy. No, I hear you. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
So
I'm sorry to cut you off. Before we get going, I just want to say rest in peace to Siku Smith. He passed away from complications of COVID. That was really sad. I used to love listening to his podcast and seeing him on NBA TV. I was like, wow, when I saw that he passed away. He was relatively young, man, right? He was like in his late 40s, early 50s, right?
73, I want to say.
Yeah, so sad. But I just wanted to say that before I forgot, but
yeah,
sorry to like dim the mood, but I that just had to be said. It was just really sad, and you could see the reaction of everybody around the NBA talking about him, and he just seemed like the nicest guy. I obviously never met him, but I don't know. No, you ever cross paths with him at CBS Sports Radio?
So when I was, and Seiku's like the nicest dude, knew his stuff, was the best, and obviously people well respected around the industry. It was shocking to see. I was at CVS picking up sodas, and I have tweet alerts from like the 4 main guys, and I was like, what the hell's going on? It was just, I stopped.
You're like, what?
And it's so awful. It's just but he was a nice guy. I remember I was filling in as a producer, and this was like the first time I ever had to book guests, and it was for the Jim Rome show. And Damon Amendola was filling in for Jim, and Damon was like, get me a basketball guy. I want a basketball guy.
Like anybody, just give me somebody.
And I was just like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was nervous. I was scared. And somebody recommended, like, hey, Seiku's a really good guest, and he's a nice dude. And he was the first guest I booked. And he came on, and he came on the show.
In your career.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
10-year career, right? And like, or 10 plus years, right? And he's still going, obviously, but that's crazy.
Yeah, he was a good dude. And I feel bad for him, for his family, and for the people. Like, you can just tell all the people around him just in shock. And life is hard, man. It's just difficulties and emotions.
It's already a tough day because it's the 1 year anniversary of Kobe passing away, and it's just like, and his daughter and Gigi, and just like, it was a bad day, man.
I can't. First of all, I can't believe it's been a year since the passing of Kobe.
Yeah.
Because 2020 was such a bizarre year in the sense of how I kind of lost time of reference when Kobe passed away, because everything that happened with the pandemic. I think my mind sort of shifted in what was really February, March, April, May, etc. It kind of got all scrambled in my head.
1 long month, yeah.
But man, as a point of reference, just the passing of Kobe too, big year later.
The world fell apart when Kobe passed away, man. That's just what happened.
I know, right?
It's crazy. It's what can you do, man? But I don't know. Better news. The Mavericks are losing by 20 plus at halftime again.
Well, there you go. There's your season. Well, I was going to transition, and what I was going to say was, we were talking about late night basketball games. You had a stretch of late night basketball games. I don't envy you. I hate the basketball games. So we're recording this right now. It's 10:38 Eastern, Wednesday night.
The first quarter.
You would be tipping the ball off. It's hell. It's hell.
Yeah, there was one of the games I don't remember. There was a Friday game or a Saturday game. I watched that one, and then the one before. They're all blending together because it's been hard to remember.
Yeah.
I mean, I could look it up, but like I just totally fell asleep. I watched a little bit and I just was like, I fell asleep. I woke up like mid third. I'm like, I'm just going to bed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not even going to the office anymore for like my regular job. But it's just, I can't stay up because also the dog wakes us up. She's like an alarm clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. She's yelping to go outside and take a walk. And it's just not worth it to me. Like, you know, I'll catch the highlights. I'll see what happens. I'll scroll Twitter. People will show me, you know, tell me what happened and see what happened, and it's fine. You know, it was funny though. On Tuesday's game, the Jazz, I was actually watching a show with my fiance, my beautiful fiance Hannah, and Outlander. I don't know if you've ever seen it on Netflix. Pretty good show. And I put my phone charging, and I wasn't paying attention. I was just watching the show. And then like halftime, you know, the show ends. It was like halftime. And I look at my phone. It's like Austin Rivers was like 10 for 10. And it's like, this game is great.
Yeah, 25 points.
I'm like, this is insane. And then I turn it on and the whole the bottom falls out. And all I saw was the worst second half. I was like bored, you know, and I was making jokes like I'm the jinx. Everyone's like, you shut it off, you know, on Twitter. It was pretty funny.
Well, I mean, the last time the Jazz lost was against, your New York Knicks 8 games ago. So I was like, well, maybe just there's teams that match up, and maybe the Knicks match up well against the Utah Jazz. And then, yeah, you're right. It did all fall apart in that second half. They closed it with 2 points going into the fourth quarter, or made it a tie, and then the fourth quarter. But you have to remember, too, I mean, the Knicks on a 4-game West Coast trip on the last game in the fourth quarter versus one of the best teams in the NBA. That's tough for anybody. That's tough for the Lakers. That's tough for the Milwaukee Bucks. That's tough for good basketball teams to do that kind of thing. So, you know, I think from a growth standpoint that the Knicks were up that many points at the half in the game going into the fourth, really all you can realistically ask for. I mean, pulling that off and going on a 2-2 road trip would have been amazing, but still to go 1-3, being really competitive in every single game on a difficult road trip is it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, it is. They played well. They held their own. They did fine. It's just people are starting, and myself included, when I say people, like fans are starting to really question Coach Thibs's rotations, where like, you know, Austin Rivers is 10 for 10 in the first half and he's crushing it, but then he picks up like a third foul. I think it was. I wasn't watching the game, so the details are a little hazy. Something about like he picked up a third foul. He came out with the last few minutes of the second quarter, which is fine. But then he doesn't play for the first 7 minutes of the third quarter, and then he's, you know, doesn't score a point in the second half. It's just like, what are you thinking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want him to sit out for a little bit, but you know, get him in the game. Like, this is the hot hand. You know what I mean? Right. And Emmanuel quickly goes for 31 one night against the Blazers, and Dame Lillard's like dapping him up and like, you know, congrats, man, you got something here, and you know. And then the next day he doesn't start, and you know what I mean? It's just, and he has a terrible game. I mean, after a while, quickly he's going to be like, dude, like, what do I have to do to start? Like, this guy's trash, and I'm better than him, and the team responds to me more. What do I have to do it? After a while, it's not motivating for a young athlete to not be rewarded for their good play. Like, at some point, you have to, when it's so far and above, like, you're better, and especially when the guy in front of you is Elfrid Payton. It's not like, you know, Mike Conley is somebody in front of him, somebody like that, who's like a seasoned vet, you know, borderline all-star whole career, max contract. You know what I mean? Like, you understand. Okay, well, it's Mike Conley. You know, we'll see what he's. You look at the back of the basketball card, you know. But this is Elfrid Payton. You know, it's just, it's absurd. It's I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore, man. It's crazy.
Well, quickly. As a rookie young guard, he's going to have those games where it's like, looks incredible. And then there's going to be moments where it's like goose egg. But
that's okay.
Not shooting well. But that's what happens. Good players have that. Young players certainly are going to have that. Now, as far as him not starting, there's definitely a stubbornness with Coach Thibs. I mean, there's definitely something where he wants to make it a point and have him come off the bench and learn and not maybe have too much pressure on his shoulders. I know that's very frustrating as a fan to watch. I mean, truth be told, too, it's not about who starts. It's about the minutes you get and how much you're playing. But what would frustrate me is if he's not getting in the game and he's not getting the same
minutes as him. That's the problem.
That's the hard part, right? The starting thing, it's like DeAndre Jordan starts for DeAndre Jordan starts for the Nets. I don't think he's sniffed the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You know, like
No, it's true. And it's like last year, everybody was complaining about Mitchell Robinson not starting and Taj Gibson was starting, but Taj Gibson literally played 10 minutes a game. And
Right.
it
Who
was,
cares?
and Robinson's playing 20, 25. After a while, at the beginning of the season, he wasn't playing as much because he was getting into early foul trouble and, et cetera, et cetera. But, or play like lazy and lethargic. You can just see it. Like, you got to get this guy out of the game if you're watching. And on the box score, you're like, how come he only played 12 minutes? I'm like, well, if you watched the first early 2 fouls he got and then this stupid, lazy play, you had to sit him down. But after a while, he was playing more minutes than Taj. So it was kind of a silly debate to be like, Mitch needs to start. Like, who cares? He's playing more. But with Quickly, he's not playing more than Peyton. And Peyton has his good games here and there. He's an inconsistent player, but he has talent. So every now and then he's going to give you like 18 and 10. But most of the time it's going to be like 6 and 7. You know what I mean? It's just bizarre with a minus 15. So it's just bizarre how like, I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking, and it's really starting to be really strange. And the guys who have disappeared are Dennis Smith Jr., which is fine. He's disappeared and he's healthy, and Frank Ntilikina is healthy for the last couple games, and he hasn't played. He's been DNP CD'd. It's crazy. Like, you would think that he would at least be on the team, like play a little bit, play some backup, and get a couple minutes here and there. I don't know.
At least see.
Yeah, I mean, Obi Toppin's only been getting a couple minutes a game. It's strange. I don't know. I don't understand. And like, I know they were winning a couple games, but this is not what they were supposed to be this season. All the fans are telling me this offseason how all 2 weeks of the offseason where it was like, oh, it's not about wins this year. It's about just, getting what they can and development and this and that. So if it's about development, why aren't these kids playing?
Well, that's kind of the point. Like, and you and I differed on this, but I didn't think the Knicks were best to have Russell Westbrook. Like, I think that made more sense for them to play young guys and go that route. But at the same time, if you're going to play Elfrid Payton the minutes, you might as well have had Russell Westbrook. At that point, what's the difference? Go with the guy that's a little bit better. Obviously, the contract's a whole albatross. That's a whole. And this is. I think you can see why Alex, why people didn't want him with that, how bad they are and the money he's making, the problems it has. But
well, I only wanted him on a salary dump.
No,
I got the
only
way I would take him. If
I got
for free.
I got that, but
but even for free, you're saying it would.
I would at least say this: you can see with the Knicks, and maybe you don't like this because of who's getting the minutes. They're not going to be bad.
Yeah,
the Knicks are going to be pesky, annoying, especially in this kind of weird season where it's more of like a baseball home and home situation.
They're going to give it every night. Yeah,
they're going to be the Knicks are going to be fighting for the 7 to 10 spot. I believe that. I truly believe they're going to be in that 7 to 10 range.
I agree.
And then whatever happens. And that as a Knicks fan, I think you should be rooting this year to make that spot, to be in the playoffs. Because you look at the East. I mean, why not?
They could have made the playoffs last year if they didn't have Fizdale coaching in the beginning of the year. They started like 3-18, and that's like unacceptable. And then Miller comes in. We've been over this a million times over the summer, where the Miller came in and he was like 10 games under 500 as a coach, and that's exactly what they should have been around. And they had Miller the whole time with the training camp and et cetera, they would have been in the bubble. They would have been right knocking on the door, and they wouldn't have been such an embarrassment. But now with Thibs, and he's a good coach. It doesn't take much to be better than the worst coach ever and one of the worst coaches ever and an interim coach. But he has been better, and he's getting in their heads, and he's motivating Julius Randle. And Julius Randle's a player that nobody saw coming this year. He's he's an all-star level player. If he's not an all-star,
definitely
he keeps
an all-star.
this up. If the Knicks have a pulse the rest of this season up to the all-star break, and he keeps putting up these numbers, he has to be an all-star.
Totally.
There's no excuse. Like a few game under 500 Knicks with Julius Randle putting up like 24, 12, and 7. I mean, it's just whatever it is. It's something around there. It has to be. It's just crazy.
This is what scares me. I'm just looking at the standings now, and I've thought about this. It's like the Miami Heat are 6 and 11, and right now they're 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13th, 14th in the East. But when they get their full roster back, they are going to be a pain in the ass. And if they somehow get like the 7, 8, 9, 10 seed and have to face the 1 or 2, like that would be a matchup I don't think anybody would want to see, a full strength Heat team. And this season is so strange, and that adding that 9 to 10 thing is going to just make everything so wacky for like
and the
a
Raptors
team.
too. One of
the
those
Raptors
teams
too.
also.
The Raptors wouldn't scare me as much.
Now, but
because I saw the Nets play Miami twice, and they were depleted, and they're Adebayo, Hero, Jimmy Butler. I mean, they've got dudes. It's Goran Dragic. They would be scary late team matchup. And they gave the Nets fits in those two games that the Nets were able to defeat them.
Yeah, they did. They did. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. That's for sure. I just it's what's funny. I wanted to bring this up too. It's funny because the Nets adding Harden, it's actually made it easier for me to swallow the Nets being good. You know what I mean? Because with Harden, Durant, and Kyrie, like my basketball mind is just like, obviously this team is just they're gonna cruise. You know what I mean? For at least the regular season, like there's no way that they're not going to be title contenders. The way they were before, it was like, this is like, I would get mad at all the reporters saying they're definitely guaranteed this and that. It's like they weren't. But now it's like, if they can add a big man, even if they had Drummond, then it's forget about it. You know what I mean? So it's the things like that. It makes it easier for me to swallow, as much as I don't like watching it because it kind of annoys me. But it's easier for me to understand, like, all right, well, they are pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? It's been a weird experience to watch the three of them together and to watch Harden, he's complicated. Because he's really, and he's made it a point, I think, he's been really unselfish with the basketball.
Yeah, he's
made DeAndre Jordan look a little bit better, which excites me to think what he would look like with like a legit center, because he's gotten DeAndre so many easy lobs and dunks. And he's gotten Jeff Green open shots. I mean, he's really done a nice job distributing the ball. And like even the last two games, Durant didn't even play that great, but he still finishes with like 30 points. And then Kyrie scores when he wants to, and they don't play that well, but they still beat teams. It's weird. It's a weird experience. It's a weird experience. And I've seen a lot of Nets teams. Now. Like they're trying to gel and every game's close, and then they just win. And it's just like, then they come down the stretch and they just get a victory. And Durant, it's like, all right, the Nets were up 3 with like 40 seconds left. Durant gets the ball, dribbles and dunks. I'm like, what?
It's so easy.
Like what? Like this, it's a strange experience. And it's almost for me, like watching these games, I'm not really that stressed as much as I used to be. Even if they lost tonight versus the Hawks, I would have been upset. But it's almost like I've kind of fully accepted it really isn't about the regular season. It's about the playoffs. And then it's time to turn it on. And this is gel time. We're seeing different rosters and lineups to try to figure out what does work. And Steve Nash, you're upset about Thibs' rotations. I'll tell you, Nash, they're predictable now. There's 9 players, and this is what you get. The
team. Yeah, this is it. This is what you got, and that's it.
Shamit's out of the rotation.
Wow.
They didn't even play him.
They tried to trade him, right? They try to trade him in that deal instead of including Jared Allen.
Well, the whole issue was like that pick. They could have used that pick instead of Jared Allen, and then that would have helped them keep Jared, which would have been.
Yeah, then forget.
Which makes you think about when we were doing draft night, how excited I was that the Nets were able to deal that first round pick. Because they wanted the guy that and he's escaping my name, who the
Maxey?
Pistons, who the Pistons had drafted, who's had a nice young start to his season. So because they made that flip, which was now a bad trade, there was no one wants Shamit and be like,
no, I mean, I thought Shamit would be better. He's still pretty good, but it's just
he's been awful. I mean, his confidence is down. He's missed every shot. And don't get me wrong, like this is the rotation they have right now.
Bay is the guy.
Bay.
Yeah, shooter, good shooter.
He's gonna play. Shamit's gonna get minutes. At some point, he's going to play because
he has experience. I mean, he's been in playoffs.
You can't ride 9 guys, Alex, for 72 games, and Durant plays 36. Durant can't play 40 minutes. It's funny. We all get on the NBA for guys taking nights off. Durant's missed 2 games. One was coming off when he played 50 fucking minutes,
right?
Off an Achilles,
back to back. Like, I mean, give him a break. Yeah.
It wasn't a back to back, but then it was a set of a back to back coming up. So it was like, I think even the biggest proponent of, these guys can't rest was like, okay, give them the fucking night off. And then, James Harden, it's funny because everybody's like, you're playing Durant and Kyrie too much. Keep playing Harden because he's fat and needs to lose a couple of pounds. I mean, that's
he lost 20 pounds in 3 days, bro. It's incredible. He just took his bodysuit off. He was like the clumps. He just took it off.
Just people can find the angle where he looks skinny. Yeah, that's all it is. I'm sure
he was looking fat, pounds. And he was. he put the towels and the shirts. He was doing it on purpose. He was like deliberately looking fat. Yeah, look at the pictures.
He was adding weight.
Yeah, he was wearing like
stuff and
that
rolls
padding
in his
that Mello
shirts.
used to wear. You know, remember that thing that like the
Yeah.
girdle that one of the callers in WFN used to always call it a girdle, and he would wear and like just makes him look fatter than he is, and it's just. And then he took it off and he's with the Nets, and it's just okay. He was just deliberately trying to get traded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all it really was.
He's been a great teammate. I mean, it seems so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what's really the fuck going on in there, but everything seems okay.
As long as they keep winning. What are they? 3-1 when the three of them play now?
They are 3-2.
3-2 when the three of them play.
5-2 with Harden.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. And Durant was out for a couple games because of COVID protocols or whatever, and Kyrie was out for a little bit because he went on vacation to a birthday party, and you know where it's they're gonna hit that streak. They're gonna win like 10 in a row and then just cruise. Like they need that streak to just like get some space, you know.
Right. But remember we had talked about this when the season started, that there's like all that energy and juice in that first week of the season, but then it's like when you get to like the 15 to 20 game range where things start to sort
like
of
all-star break,
take their path, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, now all of a sudden teams are getting wins, teams are getting losses, and the standings start to take shape a little bit, and things are kind of going where they should be going in a lot of ways. So I'll be curious to see if the Nets can keep this up and what they can do and start to get some wins together and some streaks together. And I know we wanted to talk about this, but like, you know, Karis LeVert, the Nets trade him, and then we find out about his condition, and now, you know, because of that, he has surgery and he's doing great. I mean, I don't want to
saved his life. Yeah.
I mean, like, who knows to speculate, but like, it was the best thing that ever happened to him.
Right.
Crazy.
Thank God he's okay. Thank God they found it, and I'm really happy.
Exactly.
You know, I don't care who you are or what team you play for. You don't want anybody to go through something like that, man. That's crazy. That's not like tearing your ACL. That's like you could die.
He's the best. He's like the best dude. Greatest heart. He's been through a lot of shit with his family, injuries. I mean,
look at his career. I mean, it's the kind of indicative of who he is as a person. You know, building himself up from not a heralded prospect to being borderline all-star.
Yeah,
but. I just don't understand. Maybe you can explain it. I'm not saying this in a bad way that the Nets are fixing, like the NBA is fixing it for the Nets, or anything like that. But how is this possible that they passed isn't the physical supposed to like void things like this, void a trade because of something like this?
Well, I think it would have been a really bad PR look for the Indiana Pacers if they were like, he's got a condition, but it's not injury, it's not NBA basketball related. Oh, we don't want him. I think that would be a bad look. Now, if it was like, oh, he's got something with his leg that's a hamstring issue,
like
like
an Amari chronic knee injury, or like Amari had something like that.
Right. There's something we've noticed, a tear in his knee. This is a non-basketball related injury. So I think from a PR standpoint, everything goes through, and then the Pacers are like, we don't want this guy. He's sick. I think that would have been a nightmare for them and a nightmare scene. I think that's what it was.
All right. Well, that makes more sense. It's just, there's a lot of chatter out there about that. I mean, I just asked the question. I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand how that makes sense, but I guess you just explained it to me. And then
that would be my logical answer to that.
Yeah. And the whole thing with Drummond, who's angling to get to the Nets, and, he's looking for a buyout. I don't think the Cavs should buy him out. I think they should just try to trade him. I mean, or try to compete. I mean, they got 17 bigs, but who cares? They got a decent team. I mean, they're okay. And then I don't know. Trade JaVale. That's all.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know. And like, if we go inside Cavs, but do you want to give Jared Allen more minutes to let him grow and develop? And so by doing that, you have to deal DeAndre Jordan, or do you just say, you know what, screw it, we'll play Drummond, both of them. Let's try to win these games. Who cares? Or do you try to trade him? And the difficulty is his contract just makes it so tough to trade him.
Right, but he's an expiring, so somebody will take him at the deadline.
It's so high.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like $25 million. So it's like, how do you find a match for that?
Maybe the Wizards trade Westbrook to the Cavs.
But I'm saying for a contender, contender wants him.
No, I was thinking about what team would want him. I would feel like the Blazers would be kind of team that would want him, but I don't know who they would trade for him. Nurkic.
Well, he's hurt.
But he's hurt. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what they would trade him. McCollum, I mean, he's out a couple of weeks now too. So the Blazers are faltering, so I don't know where there's a fit for him besides the Nets are the obvious need, but the Nets have nothing to trade because they gave up everything for Harden.
Second round picks.
They're going to trade Landry Shamet for Drummond.
Second round picks.
Yeah, I guess. But how can they add that contract to their team? I mean,
Well, they would
the
there would be
exception from
deals
Dinwiddie,
with
right?
the exception and the Dinwiddie
Yeah.
thing. There's ways
Yeah.
to do it. It's
Mhm.
possible to do it.
Yeah.
But I understand people's frustrations if he were to go to the Nets, but this is just how the NBA operates. Like
Mhm.
Marc Gasol's on the Lakers. Like guys want to go, and I know he was a
I know
free
Andre.
agent. It's his right,
Yeah.
but tough shit.
Yeah.
You think
No, it is
Nets
what it
fans
is.
care? Tough
No,
shit.
it was like the Knicks in 2013 when they were good. That one year they were good in the last 20 years. It's like, well, they're good a couple of years, but the one real year that they were good, they started getting the guys on the buyouts. Like they got your boy Kenyon Martin got bought out and he signed with the Knicks. It was just like weird. It's like, wow, people want to come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, cool. It's just like,
right.
Now we have a better bet. Then we have a big on our bench. What we needed, it's just kind of things like that where it was just,
Ooh.
it was a bizarre feeling. And now
Yeah.
it's just, you can't get mad at something like that. I mean, Drummond, I don't see why the Cavs would buy him out just to help out the Nets, especially if they're borderline playoff team. Why would they want to bolster a team they might face in the first round? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
right.
What do you do there? But they should just trade JaVale and let Drummond and Jared Allen try to figure it out. And who knows? And
play them both
next year. Yeah, play them both. Put Jared Allen at the power forward.
Oh my God, no shooting on the court would be the issue there.
None. Well, Drummond's trying to I think he's trying to get traded because when they played the Knicks, I'm obviously not locked into the Cavs, but when they played the Knicks, he was doing like crossovers. What'd you say?
He had like 30 and 30.
Yeah, he was insane, but he was trying so hard to do like these crossovers and shooting threes, and to the point that Mike Breen was mocking him. He's like, "Look at Drummond. I guess he's the point guard." And Clyde makes a crack, and it's just like one of those things where if Mike Breen and Clyde are making fun of you, then you must be doing something like ridiculous. So I don't know.
Let me ask you about a point guard. You know where I'm going with this. Derrick Rose.
Ugh. S. We've seen that movie already, man. It ends sort of like Kyrie disappearing. It's just like,
so is he a free agent right now?
I honestly don't even know. But it's no, that's not the veteran point guard that they kind of needed. They need somebody who's like not a former superstar that's gonna, I don't know, take too much attention, and somebody who's already been here and that was, had a terrible run while he was here and, disappeared. He went AWOL. That, they're showing up for the game and he's supposed to start. And all of a sudden they're like, we don't know where he is. Like, it was just embarrassing for the organization. And they might have forgiven him for it, but it doesn't mean that they're going to want to bring him back. Like, I know, the same executives aren't there anymore, but it's still like, what's his name's not there. Mills isn't there anymore, but Dolan's still there. And, he doesn't forget. I'm sure there's a lot of the same guys that are there.
Sure.
They're like, no, F this guy. And for me, I just don't want that. He's just not the kind of guy. He's the kind of guy who, especially with Thibs. If you think he's obsessed with Elfrid Payton, imagine if Derrick Rose is back here. Right?
40-minute nights for Derrick Rose. Quickly,
Taj Gibson's going to start getting minutes, and then they're still paying Joakim Noah.
Bring him back.
So it's just bring all the Bulls back.
How about
Dang? Let's
go. Right, Dang, Noah, Rose, Gibson,
Brewer. Get Brewer back too. Get all these guys.
Imagine that. It's so funny. That team now, because that team was annoying as hell. But they would be so old and bad.
Yeah,
they're all out of the league. But
yeah, all of them because Tibbs ran them into the ground.
Oh my God!
I just don't understand why he's running these guys like, man, I don't know. Bullock. He was obsessed with Bullock for a while, and Alec Burke came back, and he's good, but he's okay. I mean. But these are, I've been through the Alec Burks thing. He's been on 17 teams. Somebody was like, I think he played for the Jazz, right, or something. They're like, it's a revenge game for Alec Burks, and I'm just like, you could say that about almost every night. Yeah, right? You could say that about Alec Burks, but so Alec Burks took over for Bullock, who Tibbs is obsessed with. Now he's still obsessed with Peyton. It's just Obi. I don't get why Obi Toppin's not playing more. I know he's not playing that well, but if you're giving him like 8 to 12 minutes a night, and it's like sporadic minutes here and there, it's just he's never going to get a groove. And the worst thing that he did to him this year was, he played that first game, he looked okay, and then he got injured and he was out for a couple of games, and then he's activated as probable, and he plays him for 1 minute. And it's like 1 minute now, he's zeros across the board, obviously, in that 1 minute. So now his points per game average and rebound, all his per game averages are completely out of whack. Yeah. So casual fans are gonna look at like, oh my God, he stinks. You know what I mean? And he's just really, it's just things like that. I know coaches aren't supposed to think like that, but give him a chance to get something. You know what I mean? People people make fun of the players who don't shoot the full court shot at the buzzer. It's like I don't blame them. If you're gonna criticize the person's stats, I'm not taking a full court shot with like a second left, and you're gonna ruin my field goal percentage and make fun of me, and then my contract is gonna be affected by this. Screw that. It's a 0.1% chance I'm gonna make the shot anyway.
It's funny hearing you complain about Thibs, and you're right. And you obviously you're involved in every second of these games, so you know intimately what's going on, what you think.
Besides the West Coast, yeah,
you know what I mean. You're involved. Please stop
ball busting you.
But then at the same time, it's like they have a competent head coach and they're winning basketball games. It's very different than Coach Fizdale, where I would probably be safe to say, what are the next 8 and 11 with David Fizdale? They'd be probably 4 or 5. 3 or 4 less wins,
at least. Yeah, no, it's true, and that's the
Knicks play defense.
Thibs, he has a plan. He has a game plan. He coaches. He adjusts. He adapts through the game. Fizdale was just like, all right, go ahead, guys. And Randall would just have the ball, and he'd be like dribbling, and then it just like, oh shit, there's 4 seconds left. Fuck it, I'll shoot. And that was the offense. And then everybody was like, oh, Randall stinks. Like, of course, what? He's no plan. He's spinning in the lane. He's just like, what do I do? Like, there's nothing to do. Like, nobody's open. Nobody's cutting. Like, I'm just standing here, and then, I don't know. So now, so that's true. That's the thing about, hiring Thibs. I was like, all right, well, at least we have somebody who I know if they have talent, he can coach them. And I know that they're going to be okay. But he wasn't the kind of guy that I wanted because he's a 63-year-old coach with a rebuilding team. And it's just like, he's signing up saying, I'm okay with the rebuild. Or fans are saying that he's saying that. I don't know if he actually ever said that. I'm okay with the rebuilding. We can lose this year. It's no big deal. But it's just like, how can you his actions are speaking louder than those words, because he's force feeding us Alfred Payton, force feeding us Reggie Bullock, force feeding us Alec Burks, force feeding us these guys who are like, they're not going to be here next year. And it's just, what are we doing? That's why we needed somebody like Atkinson who could fall on the sword for a year, or even Miller for one more year and fall on the sword and just like, let's keep going. If this is the way you wanted to, if this is the way you want to run your offseason, but you hire Thibs and then you don't make any moves in the offseason to make the team better. And it's just like, now we're here in this weird tweener spot where it just doesn't make any sense to me. And that's why I got so angry this offseason, because it didn't make any sense. And this roster still doesn't make any sense. So it's just, you're not even playing Ntilikina. It's just, and he might not be that good, but I'd rather see him than Alfred Payton. I'd rather see him than Reggie Bullock. I'd rather see him than Alec Burks. I'd rather just see Quickly and Toppin and these guys. Let's see if Randall and Toppin can play together. How do you know how are we going to find out if Toppin and Randall can play together if they never play together? So it's just I'm
not brought up. Since the net game, he's sort of woken up.
He's woke.
RJ Barrett. Since the
no.
net game, where he did not look confident, was timid with his shots, he's played much better.
Yeah, he has his ups and downs. I mean, he's still 20 years old.
But he still played.
So.
I mean,
he's been really good. Yeah,
he has had a lot of highs and lows this season, but I would say for the most part,
let's see,
he's improved, or he's taken off from where he's left off. Of, by the way, I'll tell you who's. Maybe it's just when he plays the Nets, he kills them. Cam Reddish has been annoying.
He's a good shooter.
Oh my God, Cam Reddish. Atlanta can't play defense, and they can't defend, and maybe it's because they're playing the Nets and these kind of games happen. But boy, they've got some guys who can score, slash to the hoop, and Cam Reddish, another one who's taken a huge leap from year 1 to year 2. And the Hawks are so young, like they are babies.
Right. Yeah, so Julius Randle is 17-7-3 this year, and that's pretty damn good, And last couple games he went 17 and 4 assists. Let's see, there was one game that was bad. He had 8 points against Portland, but other than that, he's been above or around 20 points per game since the Hornets game. The Nets game, he scored 20 points in that game too, so that's pretty crazy. But he was like 7-15. It was a bad game.
He had a good game versus the Nets. He was the only thing that I feel like he kept him in it.
Yeah. No, he was bad the previous games before that, a couple of games, but yeah, no, he's been pretty good for last like week or two. That like that's when we were scared. Last time we did the podcast, we're scared. Like if RJ Barrett is not good, then like I wasn't saying that he stinks, but I was just saying it's if he's like this timid and
goes the Knox route.
Yeah, then we're where's I mean
toast.
That's it. So I mean, so at least we might have something in RJ Barrett, even if he's not a superstar. Maybe he's a star. Maybe he's an all-star. But you need that you need at least that pillar. You need something to hang your hat on. You know what I mean? To go into the off season, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it's still so early, and these kids are so young. I mean, he's RJ Barrett's 20 years old, man. He can't even drink. I'm sure he's never drank before because he's not 21. Nobody drinks until they're 21 years old, of course, as you know.
No, I didn't.
I quit drinking at 21, actually.
Did you really?
No. I quit drinking the way I used to drink. Oh, geez.
All right, smoke detector in the books. Everything okay, Alex? Apartment's all right? Not burning down?
We are not running out of the apartment.
Good.
Just a little minor smoke detector situation over here.
Because
okay.
You'd be holding the microphone, holding your laptop, running down. Get out of the apartment. Get out of the apartment. RJ Barrett's the best. Get your clothes.
He's only 20 years old.
He's only 20 years old, and damn it, let's go. All right, so we're gonna do the jersey number game, which has been a lot of fun, and then we'll read off some of the tweets from your poll question this week. So this is episode number 45.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, Steven Matz traded for some prospects. End of an era for him. Unfortunately,
I like your tweet about him. I thought that was funny about the
grandfather.
I remember that game. I remember that game vividly.
Yeah, when he hit that, because he was hitting and he was pitching. We're like, this is the greatest player of all time. He's Babe Ruth. Like, what's happening? Like,
his Mets career was basically the opposite of that game ever since. He had some
that first year
spots.
He was good. He pitched in the World Series. He was good in that playoff run, but he
didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, the coolest thing ever though. He grew up a Mets fan and he was playing in the World Series and sleeping in his childhood bedroom at night.
Crazy.
Like, you know what I mean? How crazy is that? Like, who gets that opportunity? But it's
now he's going to
go, but he's stunk for a couple of years, so it was time. And maybe hopefully they sign Bauer by the time people listen to this.
That guy seems like a head case.
Yeah, he does. But you know what? If he's only a couple of years and for a couple of year deal, and let's try to win already. I'm not getting any younger.
I'd love. I feel like I could have had a Nets and Mets championship in the same year. That'd be something.
That would be something. And then the Jets get Deshaun Watson.
Oh man,
for not too many first round picks. That'd be great. And sign Allen Robinson. Whoo, baby. Then I'm back. Then you'll be back. You'll see a side of me with the Jets that you haven't seen ever since we've known each other.
That side won't bother me though. Like the Knicks being good would bother me, irritate me. The Jets being good wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, you're like,
I'd be like,
you deserve this kind of a thing.
Yeah, I'd actually be happy for you with that.
Yeah.
The Mets obviously be happy with it. I'm a diehard Mets fan. You and I are both Mets fans, so that goes without saying. It's the Knicks one. I just
we'll see what happens. But I think there's a lot with when the Mets missed out on Springer. There's, to me, like real quick on this, with the Jared Porter stuff when he got fired. Thank God they fired him right away, man. What a creep. 63 text messages after text 37. You would think like maybe this will click in. She doesn't want to respond, but then at the end, that's when you go for the kill.
Well, it's because he's ill, and it shows you what he really thinks about women and the power that he thought he had. And he's just a fucking loser, and he deserved to be fired on the spot.
Right?
You don't treat human beings like that. It's just,
and there's no way the Mets could have known about that either. If the guy's sending text messages, how could somebody know? Oh, you're gonna do an investigation. How are you gonna? Would you dump the guy's phone like they do in SVU?
Right?
Like, let me go through all your text messages you ever sent. It's a baseball team. Like, relax. But it was still, terrible. And Steve Cohen did the right thing. He did it right away in the morning. But that day, later on that afternoon, since it's a 24/7 news cycle, you think it was like years later. No, it was the same day. George Springer signed to the Blue Jays, and the Mets and the Blue Jays were the last teams in on it. I think there was something to Jared Porter situation tipping the scales towards the Blue Jays. He's like, maybe the Mets magic is not what I thought it was. Let me just get out of here. You know what I mean? But because it's weird to go to the Blue Jays right now because they're basically gonna be a road team the whole season, like the Raptors are. So you're not getting the Toronto experience, that people like look for. So I don't know. But I mean, maybe we'll find that out one day when somebody writes a book. The Mets are going to be good. They're going to be fine. They're making their moves. Lindor obviously is the fantastic addition, and I worry about Bauer not on the sense of him having like a 3.62 ERA and they paid all this money for that. I don't care about that. It's not my money. It really doesn't. I do worry about if he's a psychopath and people hate his guts. Because I'm big on culture here, Alex. Yes, you're a big culture guy.
I just don't want him to be like
mentality guy,
dickhead in there.
Yeah. No, I know. And he's the same guy who threw the ball from the mound over the center field wall, right? When he was getting taken. That was so crazy.
And he's always involved in something on Twitter. And I know it's like Like
Very
we've
Kurt
kind
Schilling
of
vibes, right? Kurt Schilling vibes.
and you've complained about like Durant on Twitter being
Mhm.
too sensitive, which I agree with. But like Durant on Twitter is like picking
Not
fights
even
with
close.
14-year-olds about
Yeah.
his jump shot, and you're just like, what the hell are you
Like, dude,
doing?
like, come on, just go to the gym. Like,
Bauer,
just
it's like
relax,
a different kind of thing.
Yeah, Bauer's like some creepy like situation. So you know what? You're kind of talking me out of it, but no, I'm just kidding.
Nah, but
I'd
then
take
if
him
he
still.
wins and he's
Whatever.
7-1 with a 1.89 and he's your second starter, you're like, here we go.
Whatever. Yeah.
Giddy
I
up.
mean, listen, I mean, they have DeGrom, who's the best pitcher in baseball. They have Carrasco, who's like on the radar pickup in the Lindor deal.
Yeah.
Then you can have Bauer, and then you can have Syndergaard come back from Tommy John, who has been good in a couple of years. But then you have him, and then I forgot who else they have. They have somebody else. What'd you say? Stroman. Thank you. That's the other guy. I'd like to have him too, who came back, and it's just. Like, all right, let's go. Then you also have Lugo that can flex the starter in the bullpen. Like, he's a bullpen machine. Like, they should probably just keep him in that role, but he kind of wants the money. I'm sure that's why he wants to be a starter. But it's just they got a nice little squad,
and they'll probably win 79 games,
probably, or get to the wild card game and lose. Something like that. Something that was
the last time there was that the 015 season with
16, 15,
or 16. It was Syndergaard in the 1-game playoff against the Giants and Bumgarner that doesn't lose, and boy, that was that was like my first week in my new home.
Homer. That was like the most boring. The most like that game was like pulling teeth. It was just like 0-0 the whole game until like the end. That was nuts. But you know what? What can you do? And that's why I love Cespedes. I don't care. He quit on the team this year, but this year sucks. But you know what? Like
the Mets this year.
The Mets were just, Cespedes showed up and the Mets went to the World Series and then the playoffs. He's just like the most gangster player of all time. And just Manny Ramirez vibes, like just shows up like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to knock this ball out of the park. Then I'm going to play golf, smoke cigarettes in the tunnel.
That run
not
was
work out
fun.
Or drink water ever. He's just like one of those guys. But
starting with that National Series, that 3-game sweep when they got Cespedes, and then that run started. That was
with Flores and the whole
thing. That was Flores and the trade game and the crying, and then everything that's set forward with that going into the playoffs.
Like
and Daniel Murphy, and then just playing like complete shit versus the fucking Royals, who haven't won a game since that World Series.
Yeah, they went to that was it. They went to the World Series the year before that in 14 and lost, and then in 15 they won, and then that was the end of that. But I'm sure their fans are happy because that's Royals stunk for like 20 years before that, since George Brett. Like, and I was in the 80s.
Got your title.
Anyway, so let's go to our jersey number trivia. This is a new segment that we've had, and we've been loving it. So number 45, since we're the 45th episode, not many good options for the Knicks here. Let's see if you can even guess one. I don't know if you can even guess one. Let's see. The older ones you'll never guess because I don't even know who they are. I've never heard these names.
Okay, well, let's go modern first and give me clues, so at least I have a tangible chance, and it's not like, he was Wilt Molinari.
So we have center, white, mid 2010s.
Not Travis Knight.
No. Mid 2000. That's 2000s. That was early.
Mid 2010s, 45.
So think like Mellow, end of Mellow era.
I don't know.
Aaron Aflalo. Think about guys like that. He's around.
Yeah. I'm not coming.
Cole Aldrich.
Yeah, that would have been tough. Aldrich. I can see it, but that's one that wouldn't be on my memory night.
The other notable one, Jackie Butler from 05-06. He was the man. And then the Spurs signed
that
him.
One I had. I would have gotten that.
Yeah?
No. I can get a net. I can tell you one net. I know Sean Bradford.
Nets have a lot of 45s. Round out the 45s. There's only five of them in the Knicks history. You got Hollis Copeland from 80 to 82.
Okay.
Eric Fernston from 84. And then
they used to call him the Ferner.
Then you have Eddie Lee Wilkins for 4 years. So that guy played a couple of years. I never heard of him before. Yeah, well, that's a little before my time, but then probably like a bench player. Wow, he's on and off. Is he a draft pick by the Knicks? Sorry, now I'm intrigued. He was a 6th round draft pick in the 1984 draft. He was one of the greats of the 1984 draft. That really great draft. People always talk about Eddie Lee Wilkins all the time.
I know. I thought teams should have traded up for him and get him in the 4th round.
Yeah, that's it.
Then I was surprised he dropped
Olajuwon, Michael Jordan, and then it was Eddie Lee Wilkins. That's what they always talk about.
People are still criticizing the Blazers for taking Bowie over over this guy.
Eddie Lee Wilkins. You already forgot his name.
Yeah.
All right. So 45. The Nets have a lot of 45s.
Sean Bradley.
Wow. Yeah, that's easy.
A lot of 45s. Wow.
A lot of 45s.
I'm a bad fan.
There's one other you should get.
Any clues?
Well, there's two others you should get. One right after Sean Bradley, and then one Brooklyn Nets that you should get.
Is it okay? 40 was Gerald Wallace one of them?
Yes, that was the Brooklyn Nets guy. Yeah.
Which I think on episode 43 I said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you did.
And then 45 after Bradley, it's a net. So we're looking at
for 3 years too.
98 to 2000 and 98 to
2000.
98 to 2000. So pre-NBA Finals teams.
Mm-hmm.
The team had 1 year in the playoffs, and then they got kind of shitty. I don't want to bore the audience of me thinking out loud. People are like, "Who cares?" So 98 to 2000, Nets in the playoffs. One of those years, I don't know.
Michael Cage.
Oh, fuck
you
me.
Should have gotten that. Yeah. You're so mad. That's one you definitely should have gotten. But it's all right. It's not the best.
Yeah.
But older one that, Clifford Robinson. Is that Cliff Robinson? Just as Cliff. Is that the same Clifford Robinson as
what years?
1980. He's drafted. Is there a Cliff Robinson and a Clifford Robinson?
I guess. I don't know.
I guess so. Wow, this is a different Cliff Robinson.
He's a good net too.
He's just Cliff Robinson, not Clifford. So Clifford is the one that we know with the headband. I think he passed away too.
Yes.
But those
I believe I didn't get Michael Cage. God, that's gonna piss me off.
Mad. Your dad's gonna yell at you for that one.
No,
Mr. Biseglia.
Michael Cage is a guest I've booked before. He does Thunder Radio or Thunder TV now.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
That's so random. Why is he with was he in the Sonics?
I don't know.
Wow, he was on the Sonics for a while. Holy crap! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's
6,
when he was
7
good.
years. Wow.
Michael Cage. He already had those knee braces. God damn it. Fucking Michael. This Nets team could use Michael Cage. A little defense.
Yeah, no, they could. They could use Gerald Wallace. That's his right.
No, not that Gerald Wallace. All right,
what do you have? Crash because he was like out of control all the time and like injure people. Like he would always
that's the Billy King deal. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I see. That's the one that killed me. They traded the 6th pick, which became this Blazers guard.
I forgot his name. Right.
Whatever.
His name?
But the point. Maybe. That's the thing. You're like, what are we doing? No, and that was a bad trade. So you got like a 6th guy on your team, and you dealt away your lottery pick.
That one hurt. Whatever. There's no 46 though. We know why, right?
The fingers thing.
Is it because the refs thing? Isn't 46 like because of the refs or whatever?
Yeah, you can't. Our friend of the program, DJT, told us you can't do numbers when you have only 5 fingers on each. You can't do like 75 because you can't go. No one can see what I'm doing with my hands.
I get it now.
No one should ever see what I'm doing with my hands.
When he was like texting me about the ref, Dolan J. Trump, when he was texting me about the refs thing,
that's what he meant.
I thought he was saying like because all the refs are like number 46 or something. I know it's like something with like the calls at the scores table. Like
no. It's like if you were to do the number 87, you can't. You only because at least from my experience, most people have 5 fingers, so you can't do 8.
But how is there players that are like number 92 or like 85?
Not
like
anymore. Not really.
Sorry, I don't know. Kuz, the Knicks, Kuz, he was 91. No, I don't know. That was only in 2000.
I don't know. This is a good question for Dolan if he could show his face.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, next week there's no Nets 46, but 47 will be easy for you.
This is good. Yeah, we're just we'll recycle.
Yeah, we'll
0
keep going back and around.
Double 0.
We didn't start it until like episode 38 or something.
That's true.
When it got hard. That's when it gets hard. When the low numbers are easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now you're doing like 7.
Yeah.
The Knicks had no good number 3, so we'll move on from that. But all right, what do you have as the poll question this week?
So I have 2. Since we missed the episode last week, we couldn't do one.
What
but
you got?
I have 2. So I have one from last week and one from this week. So last week, January 19th, Knicks fans, are you done with the Frank Ntilikina experiment? Explain your answer. Yes, no, or not sure yet. This one got a lot of votes, 650 votes.
Wow. I would say 71% are done with the experiment.
40% are done.
Okay.
37.5% said no, they're not done, and 22% said not sure yet.
Okay.
So we had a couple shout outs. Jason Talbot. Oh, Jason, he's at Jason Talbot. Goes, let's see him play first. Although I can see some fans' patience running out with not with him, not because of his play, but because of his health, which is true because he's always injured. And if it's not a major injury, it's like, oh, he's got a pulled groin, he's playing through it. It's just like, come on, man. Like, can you stretch a little bit? But this was on January 19th and he got healthy and he hasn't played. So, we were not able to see him play first. That's one thing. So then we have at Sagopun, Sagopun. He or she goes, no, he's going to be a really good player and can change games with his defense. He's improving his shooting. Should be the second point guard on this team and IQ the starter. That's Emmanuel Quickly, IQ, his nickname, which is true. I would love to see that, but for some reason, Tibbs loves Alfred Payton.
Tibbs 6. Fuck no.
Then we have Christopher Byrne. That's at CBurn2. Good player, but a 10th or 11th man. So that's not really a good player.
I love the Nick poll question. It's quickly becoming my favorite segment on this podcast.
Yeah, multiple favorite segments. That's good. Then we have Salvador Caban. He's at BK_Yank86. Not sure yet. He was drafted a defensive guard, and this is the first time he's being coached to that strength. If Coach Tibbs can't get him all the way right, then he, Frank, in parentheses, can kick rocks. Wow, that took a turn. I was not expecting. Maybe he can turn it around.
He can turn it around. He's such a great guy. He was the best man at my wedding, but he can't. I hate him.
Yeah, but he can go screw himself. Yeah. Then we have Bobby Quarantino. I love the name.
That's good.
And at Needle,
what's up, Bob?
At NEELDOWN _. It looks like 2 underscores. And then it goes,
Can you do 2 underscores?
Yeah, 2. It might be 2 underscores. I think you're thinking about somebody else, actually, but this is a different.
No, just in general, you can do 2 underscores in a handle.
I guess so.
I've never seen it.
This is a long underscore.
This is incredible.
Well, we got to ask Bobby if it's. I know that's sure is his real name, Bobby Quarantino, but we have to ask what's up. He goes, hell no. He's a valuable rotation player on any team. Potential game changer with his defense, and he's been more confident with his shot. Then we have last one for this poll question. Lonely Knicks fan, at Lonely Knicks fan. He goes, I would have voted no if the kid can stay healthy. So that's kind of the ongoing theme, but unfortunately he can't, and we'll never get to see his full potential. Kind of like Iman Shumpert. If he didn't get those knee injuries, he might have been, a really good player. I mean, he was a really good player, but he might have been the starter level, borderline all-star, the all-defensive team.
Hey, player. He helped Cleveland win a championship.
He did. Okay. New poll question as of this week. That was actually today. I put this one out. Knicks fans, are you happy with Coach Tibbs so far? Yes, he is perfect. No, he is trash. Too soon to tell. I don't know yet, but bad rotations. What do you think?
Well, the way you phrase those questions, because the answer is yeah, but not great. Say him again one more time real quick.
Yes, he is perfect. No, he is trash. Too soon to tell. I don't know yet, but bad rotations.
Oof. I feel like you're going to get the most split answers here. Too early to tell. 34% and it wins.
He's perfect. But a lot of people you'll see when I read some of the comments, a lot of people said, yes, he's perfect because it was the closest to what they thought, what you were saying.
Yeah.
Only one
percentage?
38.2%. Yes, he is perfect.
Still
no,
close.
He is trash is 1.6%. So a couple, ball busters voted that. Then we have too soon to tell, 30.6%. Yeah, probably you. 30.6%, too soon to tell. And then I don't know yet, but bad rotations, 29.7%. So pretty split. So we have Dante. This is my guy. He's at Day Dos Tres, DAYDOSTRES. He's a good dude. We talk all the time on here. He goes, I'm more of yes, I'm happy with him, but sometimes I question what he thinks. Interesting thought. And then we have NBA UK 7. He's at NBA UK 7. Not perfect, but no matter who the coach is, fans always disagree. Plus, as you know, all coaches have their favorites who play. On what we have seen so far this season, I feel he has improved us massively, and that has put expectations on him and the team. Don't rush the process. Okay, so that's our slogan. Don't rush the process, not trust the process.
It's so funny. If you can get, but then you
Hashtag,
can't.
Don't rush the process.
Yeah, right. You can't. Don't rush the process.
It doesn't work.
You could say rush the process. Sounds good.
Yeah, no,
that's what the Nets did. They rushed the process.
That's true. That's true. Then we have two more. Jared Cleary. He's at Jared J. Cleary, Cleary. He goes, yes, he's doing great. 0 All-Stars, and the one potential All-Star all of us, myself included, were pining to get rid of in the beginning of the year for a bag of donuts. Knicks arguably have less talent in shooting than every team they play. At 8-11, he got them playing hard.
Should the net? Let me ask you a weird hypothetical. I wanted to bring this up.
Yeah.
Would a Kyrie for Randall trade make sense?
Kyrie for Randall
for both teams?
I wouldn't do it because Kyrie's crazy. I mean, not crazy like crazy, but he's just kind of like, aloof. So I wouldn't do it.
Fair.
But I don't think,
the Nets.
I wanted Kyrie, but I don't think the Nets would ever. I think it's just like a 2K trade. I don't think that would ever happen.
I know what I'm saying. Do you think it would make them better?
The Knicks?
The Nets?
The Nets? I don't know. Yeah, fit, sure. But, like when we were talking about this all the time, when you got players on that level with Kyrie, Durant, and Harden, fit doesn't matter. They'll figure it out. Like, what I mean? They're so good, though. They'll figure it out. They just need a big man, and they need a bench, and they don't have any either,
Yep.
DeAndre Jordan looks good when somebody throws it up at the rim in an alley-oop. But
he's played better. He's played a little bit better. He's still not.
You can't rely on him to go against, the real
Jared Allen.
Jared.
But 19 points in 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was tough.
Ugh.
All right, so last answer, we have David Wyatt Hupton. He's a good dude. He's a football writer for the Jets. So he goes, D. Wyatt Hupton. He goes, he's at D. Wyatt Hupton. He goes, I'm pretty happy with him. Would like to see him run the hat. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see. This is my fault. My third grade reading level. He goes, I'm pretty happy with him. Would like to see him run the hot hand more and pull the ice cold shooter a bit quicker. But he's got us playing good D, sharing the ball, and see improvements with RJ, which is key. Too soon to tell for sure, but I'm pretty happy. So that makes sense. It's also my context. I'm tired and I'm like, it's getting blurry. So blame it on that. Why I suck at reading.
Blame it on the rain, man. No, it's all good. Don't worry about it. All right. Well, thank you guys for your answers on the poll question. Don't forget again, at Knicks Central Pod. That's where you can find Alex on Twitter.
No, at Mike Central. You're at Mike Delivers Pod. Yes. At Knicks Central's Pod.
At Knicks Central Pod. I'm Mike Delivers Central. At Central Knicks Pod. At Knicks Central. At Knicks Central. At Mike Delivers Pod. If you want to, if you want to check out my Uber Eats podcast, it's Mike Delivers Pod, where I talk about my adventures on the road as an Uber Eats driver as well. All right, Alex, episode 45 in the books.
We have a couple of reviews. You want me to read these too?
Yeah,
as well?
Let's hear your
from
reviews.
The Apple 5-star. Give us a 5-star on Apple.
Give me 3 reviews.
3 reviews. Last 3. We got a couple of recent ones. He goes, this one here. He's from Kermit DIXK.
Okay.
When I first listened, I caught myself pausing so I wouldn't miss a thing when I was walking away. Immediately knew Alex and Mike were the homies. Shout out to them. I already love listening, and I'm super new to the show. Just goes to show you how well spoken and well put together the show is. Keep up the great work, guys. Then we have the next one. Let's go Knicks from Uncle F. Ulio. Uncle Fulio with 2 zeros. Oh, that's my guy on Twitter. He goes, you guys are an awesome duo. Although we are on opposite ends of some debates, love hearing what you guys have to say. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Then we have outside fans' opinion. He goes, it's reverse line movement 41. Mavs fan here, my best friends. This is a great pod that does a good job giving an insight into a fan's opinion of their respective team. Definitely would recommend it to any Hoops fan looking to scratch that basketball itch.
Nice.
This is good for my ego. No, I'm just kidding. We have
great for mine, man.
One more. EPTNS 4733. Bad weather, great podcast. Love listening to Alex and his co-host. Sorry, don't know your name. Enjoyed hearing it. It's in the name of the show, but enjoyed hearing an actual fan's perspective that wasn't exaggerated for media purposes. First time tuning into an entire episode and was not disappointed, even though he doesn't know your name.
That's
Bad
right.
Weather Fans with Mike and Alex.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 45. I'm your host and Alex Benesowitz. Thank you for listening. Again, this has been Bad Weather Fans, episode 45. And that's Alex Benesowitz. Thank you for listening.
It's like Blank Man and the other guy. That's what it is. The movie. I remember Blank
Again,
Man.
my name is Mike, And that's no, stop it.
Yeah,
It's all good.
No,
Thank
we
you
got
for
the
listening. I
joke.
appreciate it. I'm having fun.
Yes, you're David Allen Greer, and I'm Damon Wayans. Remember that? You ever see that movie, Blank Man? Great movie.
I have, but it's been a
My favorites.
long time.
Yeah, long time, but great movie. All right. Anyway, on that note,
Bad Weather Fans, episode 45. Nets are 12-8. The Knicks are 8-11. Today is January 27th. We're recording this. This will pop in about 20 minutes on the 28th. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for all the great comments. Thank you for the reviews. Thank you for responding to Alex's questions as well. And Alex, we'll see you next time. Have a great evening. We'll see you on 46. All right.
Yep. See ya.